is a CEO Education at Vishwa Samudra Holdings. She is a transformative force in education. With over 2 decades of experience, she has revolutionized child development and school performance through her hands-on approach and customized classroom solutions. She is here to talk about Nandha Gokulam Life School, the Curriculum and Collateral Learning. Please welcome her with a huge round of applause.
I'm just going to talk about a beautiful school, very humble school, with full humility. If I sound arrogant, please understand that's just my style, but that's not the intention at all. I'm Nisha Bhakar, and I represent Vishwa Samudra Holdings. I work in that organization, been with the company for quite some time now. We had 3 schools in Nellore, 2 for the underprivileged. And this business house is basically into construction. They are into real estate, construction of highways, roads. They're doing the first urban ropeway in Varanasi. They are the team behind the Mopa airport in Goa, and a lot of ports in India as well as abroad. So that's a little gist about the company that I come from. So the school that I'm going to talk about, but before that I'd just like to talk about these 3 schools that the management had built. So he has been very consciously engaging himself in education, and especially for the underprivileged. So the 3 buildings that you see at the back, they are for the 2 of them were for the underprivileged, the one in the red and the one down below. The green one was for the Andhra board. The red was a residential CBSE school, co-ed CBSE school, and the one in white, that's a replica of the Lalit Palace from Mysore, where he studied. And now you can see his fascination for huge structures. So before I move on, I wanted to share that what exactly we are trying to do in the school, and trust me, we are struggling. I'm not claiming that we've arrived, but the intent is there, the hope is there. And we're talking about the collateral learning, not so much about the curriculum out here. And I'm so happy that every speaker who's spoken before me has somewhere or the other endorsed it. So I'm just going to build on that. So what is collateral learning? I'm going to quote Dewey out here. He says, it's an how we learn and what we are being taught. So it's a pedagogy as well as a curriculum. And then he goes on to say, which is sad, that the lessons that the learners take from the accidental experience with the lessons rather than from the intent of the instructor. And this is a shift with what we want to make in our school, that the intent of the instructor has to be the collateral curriculum, not so much the curriculum. Which means that the English, maths, science, and the so-called what we understand as curriculum will definitely by default happen. Because a lot of us are from that generation which studied those curriculums, and we've done fairly well for ourselves. I'm coming back to this city after 40 years, exactly after 40 years, and I was sharing with many of them. I came here as a grade 2 child my dad was posted here from the army. We were in Wellington, and I left when I was in grade 6th, and we would come to ooty, and of course it was very, very different back then. And we studied the curriculum, and we did fairly well. But there were a lot of areas that we struggled, and we still struggle. So a lot of youngsters who are sitting here, and very few students, we haven't found all the answers. But we're trying to see that I hope there is some way that we can find some answers to those big questions that we have. So what is that we are trying to do? Dewey is talking about enriched experiences that the students must be exposed to. He says that the teachers must move away from the competitive environment and the highly individualistic world to one of collaboration, and where students and teachers both are vulnerable, which also includes a leadership team, and they are ready to ask questions. He goes on to say, and this is all that these are all words from Dewey's book, and I'm not claiming that they are mine, but that's the inspiration. And then he goes on to say that students should be nurtured in a way that they learn to take charge of themselves, and they have a freedom of self-direction. But here, strongly want to, share that it does not mean freedom to do anything and anywhere and in whatever way that you want, because discipline has a lot of role to play. And I think that is where our generation gained, that we had the discipline. But if you club it up with the discipline and the freedom, and discipline in the right sense, I think it does wonders to a child. So what are we doing in schools? We're doing small projects. We're trying to get children excited about those projects, and we call them project-based learning. And they do not have continuity. They do not have the length. They definitely don't have the depth. And we all are happy that, yes, we are on the path of, experiential learning and project-based learning. So and at the same time, he's also aware, Dewey was aware that there is a danger in doing too much of project-based learning without getting deeper into the subject matter. So, and he calls it, dealing with the subject in a mature manner, which clearly means that you have to study the subjects and you have to understand those subjects and get deeper into it. The question is only, how do you learn them in the class, what we saw in the beginning. So how is your teacher teaching you, and how is it that you're learning? So for us, it becomes extremely important that we create those experiences in the classrooms where children are able to relate and they really understand why should 2 + 2 be 4, and not just mug it up and put it across on the sheet of paper and get a great grade and still be confused about life. Luckily, the Nandha Gokulam Life School campus provides us a lot of these opportunities, because we are blessed with a 250-acre campus. The school is on 18.5-acre campus, but it opens into the 250-acre campus, which all comes under Chinta Shashida Foundation, and I'll talk about it a little later. Where there is it's not just students on the campus. It's a school for the underprivileged, where we are starting with grade 3rd, 4th, and 5th, all boys residential school. So we have the liberty to have the children with us like this school does, and there's so much that can be achieved. But we also have bulls on campus. We also have indigenous breeds of cows, and we are trying to save the indigenous breeds, which I think at the moment only 30 varieties are still in existence. The rest are all lost. They're lost. And the reason is because the quality of the milk, urine, and dung is of high quality. Bulls, because now with the artificial insemination, you don't need the bulls, and the cow never gets to see a bull in the entire life, which in turn impacts its breed. So, and definitely we don't want that. So there needs to be a coexistence of both. And there's a project that we are running which goes by the name Adopt a Bull. So any one of you sitting out here, you can go on Chinta Shashida Foundation and you can adopt a bull. Now what does that mean is you give a certain 10,000 rupees or 8,000 rupees, which goes directly to that farmer who cannot afford to have the bull. So if he gets that money, and we track the health of the bull to ensure that the bull is being taken care of. So we're trying to build an economy and R&D around making bulls also an economically viable option for the farmers. Yes, now it goes on, it says mutual enrichment rather than survival of the fittest, and a culture of dialogue. This whole idea of competition, competition, competition all throughout, and it's not a new idea. I got exposed to it way back in 2003 when we were setting up the Heritage Experiential Learning School in Gurgaon, and I was fortunate enough to lead that program and that transformation. And we were exposed to ideas like what is discipline, what is punishment, what is rewards. And that was a time when, corporate world was shaping up and Gurgaon was booming, and we had all corporate parents who only spoke about competition. So the idea was that you only go up when you pull somebody down. And somehow I come from the army background, which is absolute contrast to that. Army works together. You go together, you walk together. And across, you could be a general, you could be a Jawan. I studied in Kendra Vidalyas and we all studied together. I come from a village and we also stay in Gurgaon. So that really added a lot of, a different perspective to our lives, which misses out now in schools. And we very consciously want to bring that back. So though these children are going to be from the underprivileged, but that should not be a reason for them to feel that they do not deserve the best, or for a teacher to feel that they're not capable of achieving beyond this point. And having worked in those two schools, in Nellore, which was my first exposure to underprivileged, I realized that I was surprised. Each day I had to, check my own assumptions that, oh my God, they know it all. They know so much. They are so pure, and the hunger and the desire and the freshness with which they respond was so lovely. And my entire understanding of what an underprivileged child would be changed. And that's where the dream comes in, that it's just a lack of resources. So what would be the DNA of the students of our school? And this is very important, because when I show you the building of the school, you will say, oh, it's so colonial. Yes, it is colonial. The idea is that, you can't make a shift in one day. And unfortunately, we are too colonial in our minds. We have been very colonial in our mindset. As a young girl, especially coming from the army, I thought that was cool to be. That's the way it is. And that's what intelligent or stylish or smart means. But at this age, I'm trying to even challenge my own thought process. And I'll come to that a little later. So the DNA of the students is going to be somebody who's going to be culturally rooted. We do not want the children to feel shy of accepting that the father works as XYZ, and I'm ashamed of that. He should be aware, he should accept it, and trust me, that's a challenge. I don't know how we're going to achieve that. And maybe I'll reach out to some of you who are working in such amazing spaces to get some answers. So what are we going to do? We are trying to revive the Indian heritage culture. And India is definitely going through a major cultural shift at the moment. And I'm really trying to stay updated on that very, very consciously. And I'm so amazing that this mind shift is happening. This mindset is changing. And when a mindset changes, it requires a lot of intellectual growth. And like most of the higher education experts who came in here do acknowledge that it's the schools which need to do a lot more, so that we bring about intellectually stimulated students who at least learn to question. And hence it becomes very important that we relate to our roots. I'm very sorry that I'm quoting only Dewey out here, because that's my exposure. I have not been exposed to the immense wealth of the Indian cultural depth and knowledge that we already have in this country. I'm trying to figure out, find, and I'm yet to come across somebody, and we're doing it very consciously to get people who understand the Indian heritage, the Vedas, the Upanishads, the Ramayana, the Gita, and I'm not talking Hinduism out here, please, though I'm a proud Hindu. But I'm not talking about that at all. But I'm just saying that the entire civilization has gone through such an amazing journey, and we do not quote that, we do not understand that. It is only the post-colonial that we are stuck with, and we are still fighting with it. And if we are going to talk that, only about that, will definitely not be a generation which is going to feel proud of its roots. Imagine at this age, I do not understand my own culture. And besides just doing superficial activities, celebrating festivals without really understanding. And there's a lot of science behind all of that. And I think we are very sure that we want to revive that, 100%. And that definitely means that the teachers who are generally bored in classes because they're teaching the same stuff over and over again, maybe infusing some different activities, they need to be trained well. And hence, great partners, great knowledge partners with us. So it's like I shared, it's an 18-acre campus, 18.5-acre campus. So teachers will be staying on campus. We're trying to make sure that they have the best of the facilities, because Nellore is a back remote area. It's a 3-tier town close to Tirupati, that's where our school is. And this is Shinta Shashidhar Foundation. Shinta Shashidhar is our chairman. The foundation has education vertical. We have the preservation of the bull, the healthness and wealth, and this is, we have about 209 varieties of medicinal and herbal plants which have been planted. Students will engage very extensively with that. We have about 8-9 natural rain water ponds. We're going to use that water. We do not use underground water at all. There are no chemicals, no transportation on the 250-acre campus. It's all either golf carts, solar-driven, or bullock carts that we're going to use. The roads are made by German technology, which is part of our organization as well, which is just 5% emissions into the environment. To 25-acre campus where it is dedicated for local fruits, which will be supplied to everyone who is going to stay on that 250-acre campus, which is also for our students. And finally, the senior citizen. We're going to share the boundary wall with this facility, which is going to come up in another 2 years. So basically, a child on Nandha Gokulam is going to interact with humans who are seniors, bulls. We plan to have more other animals as well, plants, and do a lot of work around that. So if you are talking about children being sensitive to the environment, they cannot be sensitive unless they work on the soil, they work with plants, and they're engaged with animals and plants. So that's the desire. I'm now finally moving on to the photographs of the school. This is, of course, under construction. Few months, and we are ready to move in. This is our academic block. This is the hostel, one of the hostel blocks. These are the residences, the block that we've just designed for our students. And the reason to make it look so beautiful is entirely like the chairman says, that no child should feel, because he comes from a weaker section, he does not deserve the best. And I hope a lot of you will collaborate with us, maybe on a signed paper or even otherwise as volunteers, because there's so much of talent and today has been so wonderful. So I really look forward to maybe hosting all of you in probably 2 years' time. And before that, we'll reach out to you and humbly request, please do refer students if you have any. Any child who is, the family income of 10,000 and less is eligible. It's an all-boys school. And our team will actually do a due diligence to make sure that they actually belong to that economic strata and the right child gets into the school. So thank you so much. And what a lovely evening. Thank you to School News. Thank you to Ravi for always amazing, what should I say? Always, every time I come and I think, ab aur kya naya hoga, and Ravi does something new. Today has been equally fantastic. Thank you to the management, Mr. and Mrs. Thomas, for hosting us, and such a lovely dinner yesterday. I'm looking forward to the school tour now. And during the lunch hour, I interacted with a few kids and amazing children. So thank you so much. Pleasure being here. Good evening.